Hi everyone, and welcome to a beginner's overview to getting a point gray machine vision USB 3 or GigE camera up and running on an Nvidia Jetson TK1 board. Let's get started. Now this video is not an advanced video. This is aimed at those just being introduced to our machine vision cameras on the TK1 board. This isn't a detailed guide, but more of a broad overview of some of the steps you'll encounter and go through to get your camera imaging.
Before we start, the first thing we suggest is getting a USB micro B to USB adapter to connect a mini USB 2 hub. This will simplify the keyboard and mouse connection and free up the USB 3 port on the board. Other components you'll need are a HDMI cable for your monitor and a Linux host PC to do any compiling. For this video, we're running Ubuntu version 14.04. You'll also want to download our latest Flycapture 2 ARM package. I'm going to talk about USB 3 cameras first and then touch on Gigabit Ethernet cameras second. Here are two modifications you'll need to enable to allow USB 3 cameras to stream. The first thing you'll want to do is enable USB 3 on the TK1 USB 3 port. By default, it's set to USB 2. Now, there are a couple of ways to do this depending on your Linux Fortegra version, also known as the L4T version. If you have an L4T version 19.3 or earlier, you'll most likely need to reflash your whole system with a modified ODM data setting. For L4T 21.1 or later, you'll need to change just one setting in the /boot/extlinux/extlinux.conf. Change USB_port_owner_info=0 to USB_port_owner_info=2 and reboot. One other step for the USB 3 camera is to allow streaming of images greater than 2 megabytes in resolution by increasing the buffer size. To do this, you'll need to download the kernel source code and in driver/USB/core/divio.c change USB_fs_memory_MB=16 to =1000. Alright, now let's briefly look at some steps needed for point gray Gigabit Ethernet cameras. To connect a Gigabit Ethernet camera, one of the quickest ways is to disable DHCP and assign a permanent IP address to the port and the net mask. In this example, we will assign an IP address of 169.254.0.1, a net mask of 255.255.0.0, and we'll leave the gateway empty. Of course, you can have the camera connect with a DHCP server, it's just simpler with it disabled. Now to power your GigE camera, you'll either need to use a Power over Ethernet or PoE injector, PoE hub, or GPIO power. Similar to USB 3, you'll also want to increase your socket buffer size to allow for higher frame rates. This can be done simply in terminal by typing in these commands. For more details, you'll want to check out our technical application note and the links in our description. If you want a one-stop shop for all things related to the Jetson board, visit elinux.org/Jetson_TK1. It's the official wiki for the TK1 board and has excellent information on everything you'd ever want to know about what this board can do.
Well, that's it. Subscribe if you can, and don't forget to check out the links below. Thanks for watching.